Hey everyone, this is Lisa from Life in Layout, and I am back with day number 29 of 30 Days of Sketches with Chrissy's Beautiful Life. Today's sketch comes from Jennifer, and I will post her social media link below. I pulled out this digital kit from KellyBell Designs called Light Cycle Run to document some more photos of me at the ride of Tron. These are the digital papers that I'm going to be using along with the print and cut features that I needed to cut out. I also decided to bring in stone gray and beetle black from my Doodlebug Petite prints so that I could have full 12 by 12 sheets of paper. I'm first going to start out with adding the black and gray paper down. I do have one of the pieces already over on my silhouette, getting that cut out. So this first part of the video is going to go back and forth between creating the background and pulling pieces off of my mat. So the first set of items that I pull off is the Light Cycle bike, as well as this logo that says Tron Light Cycle, and this is the same logo that's on the outside of the ride. And then this collection also has some florals in the black, white, and blue, so I cut out some black florals. And then I added the next sheet of paper down, and I am going to send that over to my silhouette mat. I then pulled out the beetle black paper and used my border punch. I actually ended up using the exact same border punches that I used yesterday in my Main Street Memories layout, and those two were going horizontal, and then I'm going to actually lay these two down vertically, and I feel like it gives it a totally different vibe by placing it vertically as opposed to horizontally. I then pulled the piece from the silhouette mat. That top piece I had originally planned to use my print and cut feature, and then as I was looking at it while I was getting ready for it to cut out, I realized how many cut lines were a part of it, so I decided that I wasn't going to cut it out at all, and I was just going to leave it as a block, almost as if it was a 6x4 card from a collection. I then added the next set of pieces that I wanted to cut out and then went back to putting a border on the gray paper. As I am cutting out these border strips, I do want to encourage you guys to check out the playlist listed below. This sketch was a little different, so it's going to be interesting to see how everyone interprets the sketch and what their layouts look like. I did have to use my X-Acto knife on a couple of the pieces that didn't cut out properly, but they were super tiny and they came out pretty quickly. So I added the gray and the black pieces over on the far left and far right. I felt like it gave it a bookend, and it does take inspiration from the sketch. So now I have all of my pieces cut out, and you can see the big pile over on the far right hand side. The sketch calls for 3 smaller photos on the bottom part of the layout, and I decided that this Light Cycle bike was going to represent that element from the sketch. It has circles on it, so I was just going with it. I then cut out the World of Tron card, and I just really cut it as close as possible to all of the elements. And I am really glad that I decided not to cut it out, because I feel like I would have lost the pieces if I had tried to cut out all of those little blue circles that are behind the star and the World of Tron. I then had these 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11 papers that I printed. When you purchase the collection from KellyBell Design, if you purchase the mini collection, what it comes with is several sheets of paper that you can use, as well as some embellishments and a couple of titles. Like, you can truly do a full layout with just a mini kit. So if you are looking for specific Disney collections, I would highly recommend that you check out KellyBell Designs. Over on the far left-hand side, I did take another piece of the printed paper from the collection, and it was printed out at 8.5 by 11, and I just decided that I was going to cut out a piece that would fit behind my layout, similar to what the sketch calls for. Whenever I do print and cut features, I do spend the time to ink up the edges. You may not be able to see the ink because I tend to use the ink that is the same color as the paper, so in this case a black, but it just makes sure that if there was any little pieces that were not necessarily cut properly, so the inking is just going to hide some of the imperfections that you might get from the print and cut features. I also did the same thing with the blue pieces that I cut out. And then it is time to adhere everything down. I start on the far left-hand side, adding the stone gray petite print down, and then I tucked in the black linen paper behind the stone gray. And then I used this blue digital paper and added it to the left-hand side. Of course, I had to pull out my spatula because I had adhered the black piece down too close to the edge. And then I added my 2 photos. These 2 Disney friends are such wonderful ladies. I have so much fun when we go together to Disney. On this particular day, we were able to get a Tron virtual queue, and beforehand, I knew that I wanted to take some photos with the girls in front of the ride with this piece from the Tron movies. And the photos on the left-hand side are definitely some of my favorites because we are just being silly and looking at each other in one of them and then just big old smiles in the other one. So I did add the Tron Light Cycle Run logo right below the photo. And then I started to work on the right-hand side of the layout, repeating the same process by adding that stone gray paper down along with the black paper. And then you would think that I learned my lesson about not putting the adhesive down too close to the edge, but I did not. So I did have to pull my spatula tool back out and pull that piece up just a little bit. I did lay my photos down as well as the World of Tron card so that I could have a idea of where the light cycle bike was going to be placed. When I placed it down, I realized that a little bit of the blue paper was going to be showing through, so I just decided to mark it where it was showing through, and then just using my X-Acto knife, trimming off that piece. I knew that it didn't have to be perfect because it was going to be covered up by the bike itself, but I just wanted to make sure that there was no blue showing behind the bike, simply because I didn't want just a little tiny piece sticking out. Once I got the bike down, then I did tuck in the World of Tron card right underneath it, and then added the photos right above it. Of course, I didn't get it down straight, so I did have to pull it up just a little bit, and then use my T-square ruler to get it down, and then added the 3 photos on the top right. And then I'm just going to use some of the print and cut feature embellishments from this collection. I really enjoyed these florals. They look so real. They have just a real texture to them. You can definitely see the shadow and the depth in it. And whoever designed these florals did an amazing job. And then even some of the florals, like the black one over on the far left-hand side, has some design elements. So it really looks like paper flowers. I decided that I was going to pull out the bottle caps again. I picked these up at Hobby Lobby years ago, but I have linked them to my Amazon storefront. You can pick them up there. And the center part of it is a 1-inch circle. So just using a 1-inch circle punch, you can cut out really any image and you have a one-of-a-kind embellishment piece. So I did decide to use the black bottle cap on this particular layout, and I cut out the light cycle bike and added it to the center. And I'm just building up my clusters. I have a couple of floral pieces over on the far left, as well as that bottle cap, and then a little tag that says powering up. In the upper right hand corner, I added another floral, as well as a tag that says ready for upload. And then underneath that World of Tron card, I have another floral, as well as a tag that has the word date on it, and I'm going to add the date to it. And then underneath it, it is Team User Blue. And then in the left hand side, I added another set of 3 florals to the top right. And then I am using my glue press to get everything adhered down to the layout. So I have done another Tron layout earlier this month, and I will post the video here if you did not catch it. And I think I mentioned it in that video as well, but Tron is one of my favorite rides at Disney. I love this ride, and any opportunity to ride it, I will absolutely take that opportunity. It is one of the best roller coasters at Magic Kingdom. All right, that is it for this video. Here is my final layout, as well as some close-ups. We have just one more day, so I will see you guys tomorrow. If you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I will really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layout inspiration, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.